So good afternoon, everybody. We are gonna follow with the sessions. Our next speaker is Francisco Infante. He is the co-founder and CTO of Voltrac. Voltrac is a company founded in 2024, and it's specialized in autonomous and all-electric ground vehicles. So, Francisco, whenever you are ready, you can start.
Perfect. Thank you very much. First of all, let me thank you for the opportunity of being here. I am not a proud alumni of the UPNA, as I've never been there, but I've spent sufficient evenings on that library to partially be part of one since my friends were studying there. Let me now proceed with sharing my screen. Yes, it does indeed. Perfect. Can you all see my screen now?
Yes.
Excellent. Sorry for that. As you can tell, once you leave university, you're still not the best at technical stuff like presentation, sharing screen, and such. But let me try and now introduce myself and what we're doing here today. I'm going to try and keep it light. I've been on the other side as well, so I know how it feels when someone just talks and talks and talks for half an hour. First of all, Ainara introduced me, Fran, CTO and founder of Voltrac. We do 3.5 ton class vehicles, so between 100 and 100 horsepower. These are full electric and also autonomy capable. Now, why do we do this? Let's start with the background, which I'm pretty sure everyone in this call knows and is very aware of. But why did we start doing this? Well, because we have no people, right? We have one of the things that we can't manufacture, which is people, and we're lacking them. You can see I'm in the vineyard. This is because we're actually testing. I'm currently with my team deployed in a testing field in Barbastro, which is North Spain, for those who are not familiar. And we just know that most of the people that we work with and most of the people that we demo to have the same problem. They just can't find workers. This is such an acute problem that even some companies are starting their own tractor driver schools. So because at Voltrac, we love to eat and drink, we decided to tackle this problem. So what did we do? We first started thinking, okay, has the tractor changed? You can see on the left-hand side, a tractor that is relatively old, I would say, and on the right one, a more modern one. You can see how they both share the combustion engine, a place for a human, a 3-point hitch, and hydraulic outputs to control the machinery. And when we were looking into this problem, we thought that why does it have to be this way? Why not make it autonomous? In our eyes, there's two ways of automating the farm. One of them, you can get something that already exists, like some companies are doing, and retrofit autonomy by putting sensors on it, by putting just cables everywhere to try and make it better or try to make it autonomous to palliate that lack of hand labor that we've got. But is that really enough? And is that really good? Well, in Voltrac, we believe that's not the case. We've decided to reinvent the machine and redesign it from white sheet of paper. Why have we done this, sorry? Because we believe that by the integration from white sheet of paper, we can actually maximize the reliability and maximize the integration of software into the hardware. Why would you do the first option? Because it's fast, it's cheap. If we talk about companies, it's easier because it has less friction points towards the farmers because they use machines that they already know. And you inherently just adapt into their ecosystem more easily. However, if you do it the way we do it, it's a bit slower. You really need to think about it. But the good thing is that nothing is fixed, which allows us to go crazy. So what does a tractor actually need, right? This is what we ask ourselves. If we were to be given a white sheet of paper like we gave ourselves. What does it need to do? What does the work actually need? What does it need to perform? And not what do others do to perform the work? So we had to make a first decision. Do we want to go for a combustion engine or do we want to kill it? And we decided to kill it because we decided to apply electricity. We have decided to apply electricity not because we think it's more environmentally friendly, because it's the trend, which of course is more environmentally friendly, but it's more because it's more simple. Its simplicity shines. It makes the diesel engine like look so old and inefficient that in our minds is a no-brainer. We get rid of gearboxes, we get rid of fuel systems, we get rid of all of these filters that always clog, the AdBlue that current tractors need, a lot of cooling and heating and just the complexity of that system is greatly reduced by using the electric powertrain that goes from the battery to the inverter to the motor and straight onto the wheels, onto the PTO, or onto the hydraulic pump. So this way we also unlock instant torque that we can easily command with software. And we can also, very interestingly, put the components where we want. We no longer have to have this massive, bulky gearbox in the center that then distributes the power everywhere, where the whole machine is centered around. We can put a motor at each wheel. We can put the PTO at the front or at the back. It allows a lot of modularity to really tightly change the weight and the way we consume the energy and transport the energy around the vehicle. The decision too is, should we keep the driver or should we ask him to stay at home in the bar or wherever he feels more comfortable doing whatever he feels more productive at? We decided to do that. Also, it has the benefit that by taking out the driver, we have no cab, no complex seat with suspension, the steering and the pedals and how they communicate with the vehicle itself, the climate control, the safety bubble around it, all of this is removed, which means that we have a lower cost. We can lower our center of gravity significantly, which is better for inclined work like the vineyard where I'm at. We have more space that we can stuff with more batteries as we have done. This allows us to go between 8 and 20 hours. And it also allows us to, I was referring to earlier, distribute that mass in a smarter way so we can counterbalance the tractor without having to add a lot of front loads. The decision 3 is, do we want to sell our tractor once and then repair it? Or what do we want to do with it? Our third decision was easy as well. We want to sell the tractor and make sure that it keeps running and make sure it keeps being up to date. If we refer back to the pictures that I presented of the old tractor and the new tractor, neither of them could really be improved with time. Well, our modular system allows us to be able to, in the hardware, in the physical space, change things easily to upgrade it to different horsepowers would it be needed in the future. But also, drive by wire, we don't have a complex mechanism that doesn't allow us to do this. And then in the software, because we have sufficient compute power on board, we then can do a lot of connectivity upgrades, autonomy upgrades, perception upgrades, and slowly deploy more and more aptitudes that our tractor has. While a diesel tractor is worth less every year, a software-defined machine can be worth more. At the end of the day, we don't want it to break. We just want it to improve every year, every time we do a software upgrade to it. But the hard thing is not making it autonomous, is the safety case. And this is also the case for a conventional tractor. In a conventional tractor, you have the driver, who is ultimately the safety net. There's many stories of people falling asleep while driving. There's many stories of people being on the phones and causing an accident. And this is just the same in many farms. While with a machine like ours, you have many redundant sensing options. So we primarily use cameras. Then we have IMUs on top. We've got GPS. We can do geofencing, and all of these layers add basically to a safer utilization of the vehicle. If that wasn't enough, we also have a teleoperator always watching our fleet of machines operating on the field, which allows for that extra step of safety and having a human always at the back. So once you do all of this, take all of the decisions, you get a different machine, right? You take out the diesel, you take out the driver, and you stop being fixated on the iron. You turn into an electric, autonomous, and software-defined vehicle. You see what you see on the screen, which might be a bit dark, but it's called Tor, our machine, which might appear at some point behind me, by the way. I am not sure because we are genuinely doing current customer field days. But this is just talking about the machine. Let's talk a bit about the business model. At the end of the day, this is a company. When the machine runs on software, so does the business model behind it. And what do I want to say with this? Is that we don't just want to sell the hardware itself, we also want to make the most of our software and of our autonomy. So what we charge for is the software package, the autonomy itself, the driver service. So no driver needs to be there. I mean, they're already struggling to find tractor drivers. So let us do that for them. And finally, the data. This is key. And yesterday we were with our customers here, and that light bulb lit up. Our tractor needs to go because it needs to fertilize, it needs to spray, it needs to move ground, whatever it needs to do. So why not collect data as we go? Since we have cameras, since we have IMUs, since we have a bunch of other sensors that are needed for autonomous driving, why don't we maximize the use of these? And they said, well, this could then just go and collect data without actually doing any job. I'm like, correct. So this is the kind of mentality that we're having at Voltrac, where we see a huge potential on improving not only our revenue, but also the farmers' revenue by giving them data that they can use to make more informed decisions. For example, where to spray, where not to spray, when to fertilize, where not to fertilize. This is a precision agriculture as we all know it, but this would be done real live on vehicle, on edge, without the need of connectivity, since we can run locally AI on our vehicle. But, you know, so many people say hardware is hard and that I should do software. Why don't we do software from the beginning? Well, because I think hardware is hard, but it's not an excuse to move slow. Here you see Tom and I, my co-founder, in 2024, sitting on top of what was back then an empty shell and a frame with a mock-up of many things that we took to send to our investors. You can even see how the tractor is not on its own wheels, but rather on just random legs. And now how in March 26, again, it might be a bit dark, you can see two of our vehicles on our own test ground in Valencia, performing tasks like in this case was plowing or atomizing. We've come from rolling prototype from white sheet of paper to rolling prototyping under a year, and we just go out and break things. If you're familiar with SpaceX or any one of these big companies that go fail fast, that's the strategy that we follow as well. And we built in Valencia. We are a European company, and we did this on purpose. We did this because we can see how after COVID, we had a bit of a problem with our car supply chain and our chip supply chain. It was all very safe until it wasn't. This happens as well currently with geopolitical situations around the world in defense. What would happen if our food supply chain was not secured and was not safe? What if all of our farmers retire and we have no one else to grow our food locally and we have to outsource it. We believe that our machine, together with other people working on the similar space, are working for the resiliency of our food supply chains. And we're proud to do it in Europe because where the machine is built is where we get our security. And we want to help Europe be that secure space. Finally, this is my closing slide. As I said, I don't want to prolong it too much. I know that this should have been a 30-minute talk, but I prefer to open the floor for questions and answers. The interesting problem in agriculture are no longer on the fields, which are beautiful, I must say. I love being out here, but they're also in the machine. The machine and the software running on the machine and the data acquired by the machine can greatly help us to understand better what we need to do and how we need to do it to make more money, to make it more sustainable, and to make sure we never run out of food. So now, if this is the kind of problem that you want to work on, or this is why you're doing this master's, please feel free to talk to us later or right now, since I would like to open the Q&A.